Well, peace has broken out between the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia. They've signed an agreement at the White House in a deal brokered by the US that hopes to bring decades of conflict to an end. The deal will mean the reopening of key transportation routes, including the creation of a transit corridor named the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity. Here are some pictures from the White House, where Donald Trump was joined by Azerbaijan's Ilham Aliyev and Armenia's Nikol Pashinyan for the signing ceremony. The White House says that aside from the joint agreement, both Armenia and Azerbaijan signed deals with the United States meant to bolster cooperation in energy, technology and the economy. Well, I'm joined now by the Azerbaijani ambassador to the UK, Suleymanov. Thank you very much for being with us on Sky News. Just how significant is this deal?
Good evening, Jonathan. It's very significant because we actually have a new paradigm moving towards peace, and the initialing of the text of the peace agreement and a joint declaration by President Aliyev and Prime Minister Pashinyan signed in the presence by President Trump at the White House shows the irreversibility of the normalization process and changing paradigm for our region when we begin cooperating, hopefully, and building a better region after more than 3 decades of conflict and uncertainty.
Yeah, that's right. 3 decades of conflict. How easy will it be to normalise relations and build trust between your two countries after so much conflict?
It's never easy. It's never easy. I mean, 3 decades have done the damage. Azerbaijani lands have been illegally occupied. About 1 million people have been displaced. About 30,000 people have been killed. There are many wounded. Of course, this is not easy. But President Aliyev spoke very eloquently yesterday at the White House, saying we want to turn the chapter of enmity and begin the era of cooperation as neighbors and potentially as partners in the region. You could see the very positive dynamic, not just between President Aliyev and President Trump, but also with Prime Minister Pashinyan. I think our societies will reconcile. We have lived next to each other for centuries. I mean, look at Europe. After the horrors of World War II, after all the things Europeans have lived through, they have created the European Union and they live together and they're very friendly to each other. Why can't Azerbaijanis and Armenians live in peace and tranquility next to each other? I mean, why wouldn't we?
Of course, and it's a positive outlook which many will be very pleased about. Just explain the importance of this new transit corridor with its interesting name, the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity.
Well, I think it's a bigger project. It's called the Middle Corridor, which goes from Asia, beginning in China, going to Central Asian nations of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and others, crossing the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, and then hopefully to Armenia, into Turkey, and into Europe. Now, that part, which is about 40 kilometers, which is between Azerbaijani mainland and Azerbaijani exclave of the Republic of Nakhchivan, autonomous part of Azerbaijan. That part is goes along the territory of Armenia. In 2020, when trilateral agreement ending the hostilities was signed between Armenia, Azerbaijan and Russia, the Armenian leadership committed to opening it for communication so Azerbaijanis can go to Azerbaijan. You know, these are 2 parts of Azerbaijan. It hasn't happened. And yesterday, the agreement reached at the White House provides that part of the corridor on the territory of Armenia will be leased to the United States and will be worked upon between Armenia and the United States. It's not part of Azerbaijan, but we, of course, have a strong interest in having that transit. And the agreement, the joint declaration says that Azerbaijan will have an unimpeded access to our exclave of Nakhchivan. So I think that is the most important thing. What matters for us is that we can safely and securely travel between 2 parts of Azerbaijan. That's the most important part to us. How they work it out between Armenia and the United States, we will leave it to our Armenian neighbors and our American partners.
And just briefly, Ambassador, we know this agreement, the hope is it's going to diminish the influence of Russia, China and Iran in the region. But this evening, a top advisor to Iran's supreme leader has said that with or without Russia, Iran will block the corridor that's planned in the Caucasus under this deal sponsored by Donald Trump. What's your reaction to that?
I haven't seen that statement. What I've seen so far is the statements from the Iranian foreign minister and the Russian foreign minister welcoming the progress towards normalization between Armenia and Azerbaijan. I think that's the most important element here. When it comes to transit, we don't see it as exclusive of other countries. In fact, we think that facilitates trade and cooperation, integration with everybody. I said earlier today that anybody and everybody who chooses so can and will benefit from this resumption of communications and transit corridors. This is beneficial for everybody, for Russia, for Iran, for China. I mean, the issue is whether you choose to benefit from it or not. But we're putting together a project which should benefit everybody and should be beneficial for everyone.
OK, let's hope so. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed, Azerbaijani Ambassador to the United Kingdom. Good to get your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you.